want your boat, Georgie? Take it. Take your boat, Georgie. So it is the story of these 7 kids, the losers group, that basically are getting harassed by this supernatural being, I suppose, it. Now, for people that know it will know that it's based off the Stephen King novel and is also a remake of the 1990 miniseries. Now, when it comes to that miniseries, I hadn't read the books, and I hadn't read the books, of course, before seeing this one either, but I really wasn't that, over the top excited about that movie after watching it. After the miniseries, I really just thought the easily standout was Tim Curry as Pennywise, but other than that, I really didn't, think it was that, flash hot. Now, going into this one, for anyone that has seen previous reviews of a horror movie and even some of my other previous reviews, I talked about how excited I was for this movie. Now, a big reason of that is because Stephen King himself is never been a big fan of the movies they've made based on his novels. He came out and said he really enjoyed it, and it was really a terrifying movie, and that got me really excited. I was already excited because I thought this is a good opportunity for them to give a great concept and turn it into something phenomenal. But when Stephen King came out and said that how much he enjoyed it, it really got me really excited to see this movie, and I was not disappointed. So this movie obviously is Pennywise. People that know that, people that seen the original know that Pennywise is the villain. He is a big part of it. Now, it is actually, it takes on your biggest fear. It is kind of like that weird thing in Harry Potter, the locked in the cupboard, the boggart or whatever it's called, and it comes out and, it takes on your biggest fear. It does that. Now, the thing being, the biggest thing about this is obviously having a villain, because the villain, being kind of a shapeshifter, being it takes on whatever you most fear, your biggest fear. So how did they do one villain in one movie? Now, the thing is, they showed other villains. They showed other creatures and other scary shit, which necessarily didn't get shown in the 1991. They showed a little bit, but not too much. And this one really explored those other creatures, which I really enjoyed to see, because these kids obviously aren't going to be scared of the same thing. But the biggest thing is, when it comes to Pennywise, if you're a 12, 13-year-old kid, you see that cunt once, you're shitting your pants. That is a fact. That is cold, hard fact. You can't be like, oh no, this is a clown. No, fuck off. Your 1989, 88, whatever the hell the movie was based, that shit's going to be scary as shit. And, fair enough. Like, you see that, it's going to be scary. So these kids are going to be scared of it once they see it once. So that's a great way of really showing the villain, giving a face to the scare. Because obviously you can't have them all the same fear, but they all saw it, so they're all going to be scared of it. I think it was a really good way of doing that. Now, when it comes to these kids were really great actors. I really enjoyed their performances, and the biggest thing about these characters was they gave them development. They showed it was kind of a coming age movie mixed with a horror movie, which is what I liked. And they've stated that. They said it's more than just a horror movie, it's a coming of age movie for these characters. And you see them going through, development. You see them really coming out of their shells, and it's not just dumb horror movie shit where they just try to scare you the whole movie, because obviously they can't spend 2 hours and 15 minutes trying to scare you. They got to show you other stuff, and they show you the development of these kids' lives, and you're like, well, I don't really care about these kids. But the thing what they did with this movie really well is they showed you a kid, and they showed you Kid A and what he's scared of. So he's scared of B, and A is scared of B, so it uses B to scare A, and that's how it works. So that's how you see all the characters. They show you why they're scared of things and what's wrong with in their personal lives, and I think that really helped when it came to developing these characters, showing them going through their scared and what they were scared of and what going on in their home life. And I think that was a really great thing, because it gave a lot of depth to a horror movie, which necessarily doesn't always have horror movies. Horror movies necessarily don't have depth, because all they're trying to do, you're like, no one cares about that, they just want to scare. Not necessarily. You kind of do, you're obviously there to be scared, but you want to see a good movie as well. And that's what this movie did. I mean, the performances were phenomenal. I mean, Pennywise was Bill Skarsgård. I don't know any of the kids' names, apologies. I don't think there were many big kids. There was a kid of Stranger Things. Name doesn't come to my mind, but I think it was the only bigger, semi-big kid actor in that movie. But Bill Skarsgård did a really, really good job as Pennywise. I think he looked very old school compared to the other portrayal in Tim Curry's portrayal, and people were kind of hesitant, but he did look scary. He did a great job at, just showing the whole creepy stuff. I mean, the Georgie scene is just so iconic from the original It. I mean, that scene alone shows you everything you need to know about It. You got to watch that scene. It's one of the opening scenes in the movie. It's phenomenal. Really great scene. But, you know, that's the thing about this movie. It's scary, it's not terrifying. And that's probably one of my only negatives about this movie is, you know, it's because it's more than just a shitty jump scare movie. It's actually trying to show you something and show you these characters and showing you scaring you. So it's not going to try to focus on absolutely shitting your pants 24/7. And that's what I liked about this movie. But if it was terrifying, it could have been something phenomenal. It was great. It was definitely one of my favorite movies of the year. But it could have been maybe one of the best movies ever, one of the best horror movies of all time, if it took that next level of scariness, because obviously it didn't focus on jump scaring you. Maybe other movies, like even Annabelle, which I just reviewed, which was a fantastic movie, it did make you, be on edge, but that's kind of part of jump scares and ghost movies, and they fall into that stereotypical jump scare bullshit. This movie didn't really, and it tried to scare you with more than that, which I appreciate, but maybe that next level of terrifying would have got it. But saying that, guys, B+, this movie was very, very good. I think one of my favourite movies of the year, regardless of the rating, could be my favourite movie of the year, because maybe that next level scaring could have given an A. People know my rating systems, know that I go A. I don't do A- or A+, I only give A's, and I don't think I've given like 3 out of 50 movies an A. So it's very hard to get an A, but it's so much more than just a random horror movie. It's a coming of age movie. The characters are just phenomenal in this movie. They're really likable and fun and real. They really show you that real, like, 13-year-old kid talk that a lot of movies like, no, they don't talk like it. They do, and they say fucking shit, and I want to bang your sister, and is this your mum's? I bet you she liked it, and all this shit that, normal teenagers say, and I liked it. I appreciated that. They took a big step towards the villains. They gave you one villain, but gave you more things to be scared of at the same time. This movie did really, really well. Again, this is probably, one of the best movies of the year. Even if you don't like horror movies, if you're one of the everyday watchers that just there to shit your pants, maybe not, because you might be disappointed that you didn't get scared as much as you should have. But it is a really, really good movie, and if they choose to make a second, which I believe they are, I definitely am looking forward to it, and maybe that could get an A, because past reason I give A's is how it affected it, how it was better than the second one, did it make the first one even better? It could happen similar to War of the Planet of the Apes. I think that was the perfect ending to a series. But that is it, guys. I'm really excited. This movie was great. I was so scared going in that this movie was going to be shit, and I really enjoyed myself, and I really had a great time watching it, and a lot of my friends actually came down that usually don't see a lot of movies, and it shows that this movie is making a lot of money. A lot of people just came out and see it, and hopefully they enjoy it as well. This review is about 6 days late. I saw it on the opening day in Australia on the 7th, I think it was. Yeah, the 7th of September, but obviously it took me a few days to get this movie out, purely because I rely on natural lighting, which doesn't always, weigh into my factor because it's been shit weather like the last week, but summer's coming up, so that should be alright, and I'm looking to get a camera and a good light so I can do videos constantly, no matter the situation. I yelled a little bit then and really went high in that matter. Alright, so you guys know what to do by now. You can get involved in the comments below. I always like to hear your thoughts about the movie. Subscribe, and of course, have a good one.